You've always dreamed of writing a novel, and you get started with a ton of enthusiasm, writing every day. But eventually you reach a difficult point in your writing journey and you stall out. You've got the ideas, the talent, the motivation, but no one to guide you through the process of writing a story that works. That's where a book coach might be your secret weapon. Book coaches can help you plan, write, and finish your novel with feedback, structure, and accountability all along the way. With a book coach, you're not going to stall out halfway or give up entirely. If you're new to my channel, I'm Maureen Wiley. I'm an English professor, I'm a writing teacher, and I'm a book coach. I also write my own historical fiction, and right now I'm in the process of working on my second novel, a work of historical fiction set in California in the 1850s. If you want to watch my journey of writing a novel and seeing what it looks like for me to coach some of my coaching clients, you can check out my Substack at the link below. In today's video, I want to explain why book coaches are more necessary now than ever. When I tell people that I'm a certified book coach, a lot of people tell me that it's been their dream their whole life to write a novel. But a lot of aspiring writers don't know how to actually build what's called narrative drive or momentum in their story. In my personal opinion, the best time to hire a book coach is before you've actually started writing, so that you can make sure that your story has that narrative drive, that you have a strong plot with a good structure that brings your readers along and make sure that they'll not be able to put your book down. You might be thinking that you don't need a book coach because you could use something like generative AI programs. And it's true that generative AI can help you with writing a lot of words if you want to consider that writing, which I'm not sure I necessarily do. But generative AI is not really good at the things that make a novel worth writing and, more importantly, worth reading for your readers. And that is how to write a story that has an excellent plot with high stakes that grabs your reader's attention and keeps them going all the way through that satisfying ending. Even things like writing books are really helpful when you're learning basic things like structure, but it often is the case that we need to have a conversation with another human to understand what are the emotional stakes in our stories. What is going to be the ultimate emotional payoff that is going to make your story resonate with your readers? Book coaches can help you choose a concept that fits your writer's voice. And book coaches can also help you understand the various conventions and obligations of certain genres to fit the structure of your story. What this does is it means that you're not going to be wasting time on ideas that don't work and write you into what I call a story corner. When I coach people in my free weekly group coaching call and writer's workshop, which if you want to join us, you can also check out the link below, a lot of people tell me that they have the idea for a story or they've written about half of their novel, but they feel like they've reached a point that they don't know where they're headed next. I also meet a lot of people who've written 90% of a novel and they don't know how to end it. There are a lot of writers out there with half-abandoned manuscripts, and a book coach can help you make sure that you finish strong. Almost every single person I know and that I work with does better with accountability. So another thing that a book coach can help you with is to be accountable to your creative project. Coaches keep you moving with real deadlines. I consider myself my own book coach, and I still give myself deadlines to make sure I stay on track. The other benefit of accountability from working with a book coach is that book coaches can help lift the load of designing and implementing your writing. They can help you break down what needs to be done with your story and give you small, doable exercises that can help you move forward in short periods of time. Coaches can help you so that you don't have to do it all. They can design writing exercises to help you build your world building, your characters, or even work on your prose. One of the most valuable things that I've gotten from coaching is the mindset and emotional support that I get from being accountable to a coach. A lot of first-time novelists struggle with perfectionism and imposter syndrome. Coaches can help you rewrite those mental scripts. In fact, a lot of times when I'm working with my coaching clients, we're actually working on their mindset because it's the thoughts that drive the actions that they're ultimately going to take. If you want to learn more about how thoughts impact your emotions and lead to certain actions, you can check out my series on procrastination. Coaches help you rewrite your mental scripts so that you know that your first draft doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be written. I see too many writers quitting too soon because they don't have have the kind of mindset and emotional support that they could get from working with a coach. And finally, I want to talk about the most important reason that book coaches can help you to actually write a novel that you're proud of, and that is feedback that is actually useful. How many of you have ever joined a writer's group that included a critique portion, or maybe you took a class somewhere and your fellow classmates critiqued your writing? It's actually kind of a terrible experience. I don't recommend critique groups for people who actually want to learn how to write a novel that works. Writing groups generally give either vague or often contradictory feedback, and a coach who's certified to give this kind of feedback can give you targeted, specific input that helps you to understand what's not working about your story. Coaches can help you separate what's just a sort of first draft problem that can be sorted out later versus what are some bigger structural or even character development related issues that mean that the story just is a flop. Not just little mistakes that can be easily fixed later with some copy editing. And lastly, if you hire a book coach and you work with them to write a novel that works, they can provide you insight into the current state of the publishing world, what it's like to get on the publishing market, and how to find the audience for your specific readers. The publishing landscape in 2025 is a lot more complex. There's indie publishing, hybrid publishing, self-publishing, traditional publishing, serialized fiction being posted on blogs like Substack. Coaches can help you tailor your path for what you actually want, not just what some writing guru told you to do. Book coaches can even take your manuscript, look at the first 10 pages, and help you shape it for when you inevitably head out there to query literary agents and possibly even get a book deal. If you want to learn more about all the incredible opportunities you can have when working with a book coach, I've got some really exciting stuff coming up in the next few months, so you can sign up for my newsletter below and hear all the details when they arrive. And if you're curious to learn more about how I approach teaching people how to write a story that works, you can check out this video up here. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.